When I was told to come visit ACI, I was not sure what to expect, but I was told I got to meet Chris, and I was told that Chris is full of knowledge and a lot of learnings. Today, I'm so lucky, all the way from Dubai. Orlando, thank you for meeting us here, getting to see us.
Yes, sir.
We've been here for 5 hours, and I'm not even bored. Wow. What's the story?
Oh man, it starts way back in 2007.
Nice.
Actually, it starts before that, but I won't get into all that. I mean, I had a shop in Tampa, and I had a bad partner. It didn't work out. Then I got a job at, my daughter ended up getting a staph infection. I was in the hospital, and I quit my job where I was working, and I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. And I got this harebrained idea one day in January that I was going to take my Discover card, because they were throwing 0% financing checks at everybody. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna borrow 10 grand. I'm gonna start ACI. I'm gonna start a company.
Just like that.
Just like that. So that was in January. I wrote the check out to myself, the cash, and a friend of mine was getting out of the hobby, and he had a lot of big equipment. So I bought it all off of him at a really good price. As a matter of fact, this whole entire place is put together with used equipment for the most part.
Wow.
And it was all refurbished by us to make sure it was going to work for our application. But that was in 2007, January of 2007.
So I'm lucky. We're meeting in January.
Yeah.
It's your lucky month.
Yeah. And it was January. It was when about this time in January, the systems were running.
Wow.
In 2007. I incorporated in 2007, May 23rd. That was the first day we were doing business.
Nice.
And a really good friend of mine who was a customer of mine at the fish farm that I used to work for was my first customer. And, I'll never forget that. And we've been just grinding every day since.
ACI is not a store.
No.
ACI is an aquaculture farm.
Aquaculture facility. We're a wholesaler.
Yes.
So first and foremost, our passion is the animals themselves. My passion and drive and love for corals, they're all so unique and so different.
The animals are the corals.
Yes. And that's a big misconception. People think that they're plants, or they say that's just a rock.
It's not a rock.
It's not. I mean, it is a beautiful creature that's more complex than people even can imagine. People think they're just simple rocks and plants. They have a relationship with their, a plant, and that's the reason why they have their color showing. We can get into that here more, but let's go back to the
core.
The beginning of us.
What's this facility? I mean, you distribute around the world. You distribute across the USA.
Most of it is in the USA.
Of course.
We do and have done exports to Sri Lanka, to Trinidad. We sent some stuff to, anyway, it's a handful of exports. I haven't done a whole lot.
Soon to Dubai.
Soon to Dubai.
To Dubai.
Yes.
Yeah. This place is magical. And I got to tell you, I've seen corals in Dubai. I've seen hobbyists. I've seen aquariums. But what I see here, first of all, I see passion. Mm-hmm. I see time. I see caring. I see the effort you put into it. I mean, I'm sure you spend 7 days a week over here.
Yes.
Do you see the family?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, his wife is over here helping him. His son is here too. Mm-hmm. So it's a family place. The life of the house actually starts from here. And I think all of you share the same passion.
Yes.
Every coral speaks a story.
It does.
And
I can tell you the story of every single one of them.
I'm sure you can. I mean, he has endless stories. So if you want to, I'm sure we should open like once a week a YouTube live, and people should ask you questions.
You know how many people say that to me? Everybody.
You have like memories.
But a lot of people don't know what ACI is. And when I was figuring out a name for the company, I'm like, how do I figure out? The family's my most important thing, and the reason why I'm doing this is for my family, because I'm not really employable. I have too strong of an opinion about things, and I feel like I'm left behind if I'm employed by somebody with my ideas, or they take them and they run with them.
Yeah.
I want to be those ideas. So ACI stands for my wife, Amanda, me, Chris, and it was Isabel, my daughter, because that's all it was when I started ACI. And then Isaac came along years later, and we're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And I'm like, Isaac.
So you have double I.
So we got double I.
Nice.
So ACI stands for, basically it's our family.
God bless your family.
Thank you.
How much time do you put into taking care of every coral that comes in? Take us to a quick process of how important is it? I'm sure many of us back at home in every country in the world, we go to a local fish store, we pick up a coral, and we just look at it and go home and put it. Sometimes it doesn't make it, sometimes it survives, sometimes it thrives. But I believe what I've experienced in my visit in the US is that it's all about patience and
Yes.
understanding and respecting the coral. So how much time does every coral take from the moment you start culturing it to the moment it actually delivers or is delivered to someone's house?
Give me goosebumps talking about this.
there you go.
This is like right up my alley. This is what I love about what I do. You know, that each coral is so different and so unique. And you know, if anybody wants to get into doing aquaculture on this level, commercial, it's a lot different than just some hobbyist having an aquarium and growing a couple of fragments out and taking a couple of fragments a year off of a coral. If we want to grow a coral out and have it offered up for sale, you know, I send an email blast out to over 900 people, 900 shops every single week. So what am I going to do if every single one of those shops wants one of those corals? I got to have a lot of
Corals.
our aquaculture stuff available. That's not realistic that everybody's going to order from me.
Yes.
I mean, it's very, if we get 10% of that giving us an order monthly,
Yeah.
that's not a bad deal. I mean, it's a lot of business. It's a lot more than 10% doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking about the cost of corals and how many corals we actually go through our facility on a weekly basis or go out of our facility on a weekly basis, it's a lot. So each coral is so different and unique. We have to figure out the sweet spot. We have to figure out where it's going to be the best for that coral to grow and thrive. And that's what I like to hear you say, thrive.
Thrive.
Okay, a lot of people have tanks, they're surviving.
Yeah,
I'm all about the corals thriving.
thriving.
If they're not thriving and just surviving, that means they're on this planet for a lot less time.
Yeah.
If they're thriving, they're going to last a long time. I mean, think about it. You know, Vincent Chales of Bali Aquarium, Ocean Gardener, they found the largest coral colony ever recorded in history in Manado, Indonesia. You know, how old is that colony? It's, I forget how big it was actually.
Decades.
But in Solomon Island, they found one and they did a core sample and it was found to be, what, 6,000 years old or something like that?
Wow.
You know, I think that was what it was. It was a 500 years. I don't know. There's so many numbers going in my head. I just know it's an old coral. So these corals will live and grow endlessly if they're taken care of properly. So thriving is the way it should be. It never should just be surviving. And one of the things that we do in here when we bring in corals, we take care of them. We make sure our water parameters are spot on. So that way the imported corals have a chance to settle into our systems and to recover from the long travel and the possibilities of issues from being packed up in a bag for 2 days, sometimes 3 days.
Consistency is important.
Exactly.
Your parameters need to be consistent.
Exactly.
Second of all, making sure there are no parasites.
Exactly. And that's the hardest thing with wild imports.
There's some of them you can't see.
Exactly. I mean, we do not dip any wild import except for stuff we know we can treat, like our elegance corals, or if we come in cloudy water, you know we can put them in oxalinic acid for a treatment for 24 hours, and it'll help us save, you know, another 25 or 30% of the ones that are in bad shape. But back to the corals that we're farming, I mean, I've got corals that take 6 months to get on the market.
Wow.
You know, because they grow really fast. You know, then we got corals that, you know, and this is, we're talking, as an aquaculture facility, we don't consider it aquacultured until we cannot find the actual original skeleton of the wild imported piece. Wow. So anybody that wants to say they have an aquaculture piece that was a wild coral that was
lot of guidelines
and stuck down and grows onto a plug, it was aquacultured but not proven. When you can't find that original skeleton, you know you have a proven coral that has got a story that you can back up 100%.
Sure.
So, Lotta was showing me this picture from Colin. You know, Colin's got some of our corals on his farm, and he got little fragments of them. And I think Colin's the only other person in the planet that's got this one coral. And when he posted it the other day, I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh, that's right. Colin got a piece of it, because I've been waiting and waiting to cut this piece of coral up into fragments and get it on the market, because it's a stunner. It's going to get people's heads spinning. It's going to make Favia's great again.
I love the passion behind this. Wow. And I love the way, all the terminologies and the names of the corals. I mean, we know them on the commercial level, you know them on the scientific level, I'm guessing. But then you start with a frag.
Yes.
And then you wait for it to grow.
Yes.
The skeleton comes out.
Yes.
And at least 6 months to 1 year before, depending on the species.
It can take 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. It depends on the coral. Like some of these.
And some people ask why they're expensive.
And here's the problem that I have with people saying they support aquaculture, but then will not buy the aquaculture piece. Or they'll buy it from somebody that's saying it's aquaculture when they don't have any proven lineage on anything that they have. I have proven lineage on every coral that's ever been released that has the ACI name behind it.
Wow.
We have a story behind it. It's all written down. It's all there. It just needs to all be put on the website. I haven't gotten to it yet. But every coral that is farmed by us will always have a backstory. It'll tell you the ups, the downs, we almost lost this coral completely. I mean, I've got Vincent Chales sent me this beautiful acropora called we call it the acropora Dirty Insanity.
Yeah.
It's acropora tenuis. There's maybe 25 people in the entire country that have a piece of this.
Wow.
We had the only piece that survived out of the 2 other people in the country that got it from Vincent.
You have one?
I do.
We're gonna show it to you.
We
on
will show
camera,
it.
So I'll remind you. Yeah.
After Hurricane Ian 2 years ago, I literally had a 1/2-inch fragment of it is all I had left. In 2 years' time, I finally was able to release it. I ended up growing it. I broke a fragment off by accident, glued it to another tile. I have 2 tiles of it now. It's about this big, but I don't sell my acroporas I cut them to order.
Okay.
It's easier on the coral colony and it's easier for the customer.
And less stress, I guess.
Yes. We have a technique that we can cut the coral and ship the coral the same day, and it blows people's minds. You can't do that. Yes, you can.
All your babies, I call them your babies.
They're my babies.
All right. Are sitting in how many gallons in total?
18,500.
How many tubs?
I don't know. I got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 by 6s.
Wow.
2 12 by 4s. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 by 4s. A couple of plywood homemade tanks. No, 9 8 by 4s. And then we've got 8 by 2s in there that are what you see is what you get tanks.
WYSIWYGs.
WYSIWYGs. And then we've got our spawning system, which is an 8 by 2 tank. And we got my wife's 120-gallon tank, which is going to become a 250-gallon tank in a matter of the next few weeks.
A few quick questions. One,
Yes.
what's the secret recipe?
There is no secret recipe. It's called passion, love, dedication, time, effort. I mean, if you don't have passion, you don't have the dedication, don't do this. You're gonna have it's a money pit. It's worse than going to the casino and wasting your money on a slot machine. You know, you win some, you lose some.
True.
In this, you lose a lot
lot.
if you don't put the time and the effort, and always be thinking about how to be better. You know, don't ask somebody how to be better. Do it yourself. All these people nowadays want to ask for advice on how to take care of an aquarium, and they all fail. I'm not saying everybody. Please don't take me the wrong way. But a lot of people fail because they don't ask advice from one person. They ask advice from this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. Guess what? What I do, I know it works. I know it works well. But this guy over here, he does it, and it works. And it works well for him. But you mix my idea with his idea, you could be in for a complete recipe
Correct.
for disaster.
Correct.
And then people do that all the time because people want instant gratification. Nowadays, the people that are getting into reefing need to get the mentality of patience. And unfortunately, and I'm not cutting up all younger generations because it's not all the same, but a lot of the younger generations, unfortunately, because of phones and all this instant boom, 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 they want an answer for something, they can Google it. They want to do, they can chat GTP it.
Chat GBT.
Google my name chat GPT my name one time. It'll blow your mind. My friend did it, I did it, my wife did it, all came up with different things, but it was all fairly accurate.
Correct. But you need to trust your instinct. You need to be patient.
Exactly.
You wanna try a method, call
to your
somebody,
guns.
make sure you wanna try till the end. The results don't come overnight.
No, hell no.
And I mean, I've even heard from many, and now from you, is that sometimes you put a coral, and then a few years later, it turns out into a new color, a new variance, and that you didn't even know existed.
Of course.
So patience is core.
That's why I like putting a fragment on the farm. I can take a coral colony that we import. I mean, I've got so many coral colonies over here right now that I'm like, oh, I need to take a frag off of each one of these. And I will, because that's what builds my coral bank. And at the end, when we can't get corals anymore, I want to have the largest coral bank of diversity anywhere. And I don't care if it's brown and ugly, I want it. Because that means if it's not available to be imported, eventually you might have somebody that likes the pattern of the growth. You know, Jake Adams and I went back and forth all the time about why don't people like this coral? it doesn't phosphoresce under blue light.
Okay.
I've got Jake's branching Echinopora horrida back here. It's
Beautiful.
silver.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
To most people, they're like, why would you want that coral? It's a chalice that branches. Are you kidding me? It's freaking cool.
You have it here?
Yeah.
We're gonna show it to you.
Of course we will.
If somebody comes and says, Chris, pick your favorite 3 corals that are out of this world, you would take home with you and say, this is ACI's top 3.
Top 3, a lot of people wouldn't like them.
Okay.
Because they don't phosphoresce that well. I'm weird when it comes to what I do.
Okay.
I love all corals. Phosphorescing down to the ugliest brown turd you'll find on the reef because of its color pattern. Or not the color pattern, the growth pattern.
Okay.
Growth pattern is probably my number 1 in looking at a coral and why I want to keep it.
So how it will grow.
Yes.
Eventually.
How it grows. What makes it different? Is it ugly? It doesn't matter to me because it's beautiful in its pattern of growth. If it has all those popping, beautiful, insane colors, that's a bonus.
Yes.
You know, and then if it's got that cool pattern with the bright colors to it,
True.
it's going to be a home run when it gets put on the market.
Pick 3.
Yeah.
So what's your 3?
Oh my God, dude, you're making it difficult
Come
for
on,
me.
3.
Oh my gosh. Dirty Insanity.
Dirty Insanity.
Echinopora horrida.
Okay.
You give me goosebumps again, dude. I'm
good at this,
I'm on
right?
the spot. I can't figure out what to say. It's got to be the Acropora pichoni.
Okay. We're gonna show it to you guys. So I'm gonna.
It's brown as brown can be,
Wow.
but it's a brown snowflake
Okay.
because that's what it looks like.
What's
it
your
literally
fav-
looks like a snowflake.
What's your favorite fish?
Oh God, you're doing it again. My favorite fish. It's got to be the one of the unobtainables. For me, I can't. I don't know where to get them. Feminist wrasse.
Okay.
I love them, and are really truly unattainable, which I would love to have at some point, but I need a cold water tank. Would be the Paracentra gibberelli. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Peppermint angelfish.
Oh, pepper. Yes, the one from Hawaii.
No, that's Personatus.
Okay.
They're the Ginacanthus, the deep water Ginacanthus.
I know that there were many casualties for divers that actually go down there to get it.
The divers die.
Yeah.
And
It's a very tough job.
Same with the peppermints.
Yeah.
Same with Debelius. Same with Nahaki angels. They all come from 380 to 450 feet of water. Any diver going down there has got some kahunas, and he's hunting for a long day, 18 hours from the time you go under to the time you come back up. I think the one guy I talked to had he was down for 18 hours. He was on the bottom. He collected 6 Personatus angelfish, and he was down for about 30 minutes, and it took him 15 hours of decompression. I said, how did you do that? He's like, it was horrible. He's like, but I learned how to fall asleep with my mask on.
Wow.
So he's sleeping with an alarm set. I mean, that's a death sentence.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you just, these people, and okay, people always complain, why are these fish so expensive? I don't see you suiting up in a rebreather and flying to a remote island somewhere and going down. Appreciate what the diver that actually did it. And if you don't have the passion, don't do it. Like these guys have passion to dive depth.
Yeah.
They got kahunas. I mean, there's not many people on this planet that have dove down into 400 feet of water
100%.
and actually seen the reefs down that deep.
True.
And the water's cold. It's in the 60s. In a tropical reef, it's cold down there. So when they bring them back up, and I see people that keep them, what are you keeping the temperature at? 72? Why? You're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
It's gonna die. 3 months later, it died. You spent $25,000 on a fish and you didn't keep it in the right water. We're talking $25K for an animal, and then a wasted trip for a guy that actually went and picked it up.
And put his life on the line.
He got paid, but he doesn't want to see the animal die either.
True.
I don't think anybody that collects this stuff, of course, there's monetary aspect is there, but you have to have passion to do something like that. You have to have deep passion to be able to go down that depth. That's a lot of.
True.
I don't know how I could do it probably, but with my ADHD brain, I couldn't, I don't know, I might go crazy.
Chris, if I sit you in front of today's modern beginner hobbyists, and I ask you to say, after all the experience you've had, please give us 3 tips for any new beginner hobbyist, what would you say?
Simple as possible when you start out. Learn how to maintain your water parameters in a simple tank. Don't buy all this fancy gear. Stop wasting your money before you even got any corals. Okay? I think that all the gear is great because as you know what you're doing, you have to know what you're doing to be successful. Okay? A piece of equipment isn't going to make you successful. It took me 3 decades to get into using, almost 3 decades to get into using apexes. And only reason I did it was because I could eliminate having to worry about an employee doing those jobs.
Yes.
And that was peace of mind for me because I have a hard time finding employees because I'm really hard to work for because of my passion. And when I see somebody that's just got a job and you can tell it's just their job.
It's hard in this industry.
I would rather not have somebody. I'd rather do it myself and put myself through hell.
True.
Seriously.
I agree.
That's why I have Devin, Daniel, and Justin.
Yeah.
And my wife. My wife has been one of the biggest aspects of my company.
Beautiful pictures. Please check her out on Instagram. Just follow them.
My wife does all the photos. Don't say good job, Chris. Awesome photo, Chris. Give my wife the credit, please.
True. Second tip.
Yes. Second tip. First tank. I say keep it simple. I have to say go with basic lights. And honestly, I would say go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy a T5 fixture with twin bulbs, 4-footer for a 55-gallon aquarium.
Just wait.
And leave it alone. LEDs, they work. But there's a lot of things that go wrong with tanks set up sterile like we do nowadays and LEDs. To fix those problems, it can be difficult and it can be a money pit. And the other thing, real live rock is the biggest, okay, I'm sorry. Dry rock is the biggest travesty to ever hit this industry. Green, green, green. Guess what? I want to be green too. But I don't believe in dry rock anymore because of this system behind you right here. I went against my own rules and I went straight LEDs and dry rock. This has been the most nightmare system I ever had set up. Find somebody that can get you real live rock to set your tank up and cycle your aquarium with real live rock. It will make a world of difference, and using the T5 lights will give you a more full spectrum lamp. LEDs, regardless of what they say, and this is what makes me upset, is that people can lie and they can get away with it. They are not full spectrum.
Okay.
0. There's one, and that's Reef Bright's Lumilight.
Okay.
780 nanometers down to 360 nanometers.
Wow.
Every other LED on the market will get to like 390 to like 720. That's not full spectrum because you're not getting into the UV spectrum. You have to have some UV and some infrared in order for it to be considered full spectrum.
Makes sense.
I mean, we are all here on this planet because of the sun, right?
Right.
Without the sun, we're all dead.
Correct.
So why are we replacing what Mother Earth has been thriving on for 4.5 billion years? I don't know, life hasn't been here that long, but you know what I mean. Why are we trying to say that a superficial light source is suffice for these animals to thrive long term?
Do you think mixing T5s and LEDs okay?
I think LEDs are great for aquariums. I think that they're a great supplemental light. I think that they make a really good pop on your corals that you cannot duplicate from a metal halide, or you cannot duplicate from a T5 lamp.
True.
You need that LED royal blue 420 nanometer blue spectrum coming out of LEDs to give you that shimmer, that shine, that holy wow factor.
Okay.
But you don't need that light to make the coral produce those colors. People say all the time, if I put your corals from metal halides under my lights, they're not going to look as good as if you grew them under LEDs. I beg to differ. Everybody I know that has LEDs,
you proved it.
Yes,
You proved it.
I mean, we got all white LEDs on here right now. Okay, the Coral Care LEDs are on 100%, all channels, no higher blue spectrum, no lower white spectrum. It's just 100%. As it comes is what is running. If I shut them off, I'll shut the whites off and put them on all blue, your eyes will light up because the corals just pop. And I can do that for you with my phone. That's the other thing I don't like. All this gear that's got all these apps, get a pump that plugs in and unplugs. Get a light that turns on and turns off. In the beginning, when you're first setting up, all this special equipment for all this stuff, it makes you a lazy ass reefer. It doesn't teach you anything.
Yeah.
If you're not hands-on when you're the beginner, you never will be hands-on, and in my opinion, you never will be successful without wasting a ton of your money and a ton of your time.
pH and nitrate, how important?
Nitrates are very important. pH is the most important parameter, in my opinion.
Because before, a few years back, everyone was like 0, 0, 0. Now phosphate and nitrate is a...
Well, and here's why. My theory as to why nitrates and phosphates are needed nowadays is because of the lighting we're using. Because we're using all blue light. So the zooxanthellae itself is the biggest uptake in your system that lives inside the coral, the biggest uptake of nitrates and the other algae growing around in your aquarium. So the reason why we need more nitrates and phosphates in our water is because we're running our tanks at blue. So if you have a coral that's an acropora and it lives in the wild and it's high and dry at low tide,
yeah,
and you can't duplicate what the sun's giving it, but you're blowing 100% blue light at it all day, every day, at a high intensity, it's not getting everything it needs.
Okay.
So in order for the zooxanthellae species to be balanced, it needs the nitrates to be a little higher. But I kind of debunked that as well because I run my nitrates in all my systems between 4 and 10. In the system over here, because the light is a lot lower, I run them around 20 to 30. My phosphates are like 0.2. My soft coral system, the phosphates go from 0.2 to 0.8
okay,
on a monthly basis. The nitrates are 40, 50. But I'm running just some Reef Bright accent strips, and I run my meadow halides over them for about 4 hours a day.
Wow.
And the corals thrive.
Well, you got the secrets, you got the tips, you got the recipes. And what are
Keep
we
it
going to do
simple.
now? Keep it simple. I think what I learned today is take it easy. And what I've learned from this trip is that it's way simpler than we actually do.
It's so simple.
It's so simple. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go with Chris and show you the corals that he picked and his favorite ones. So we'll take some videos. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's go. This is my third favorite. I don't know, it's hard for me to pick. The only two-dimensional acropora I've ever seen. It's about as thick as a credit card. There it is. And then that's what it's just a unique piece. It's not for everybody. I love it because of the growth pattern. This is the Echinopora horrida. It is one of my favorite pieces. I know Jake Adams and I talked about it all the time. It was one of his favorites as well. And we both said nobody will ever want it, but after putting pictures up, everybody seems to want it. It's Echinopora, which is one of the species, or one of the genus that is chalice. And this is the most unique growth form of that particular genus. And if you look at it really close, you can see that it looks just like chalice polyps, but it grows in branches like an acropora. I'll actually bring it out so everybody can see it. Such a cool coral. It's just not going to show how beautiful it really is. That's ACI's Dirty Insanity.
What's the color variance of this?
You name it, it's got it. It's a true rainbow tenuis. It's got blue, red, green, pink, yellow, orange, everything. The real beauty is when it's closed, the polyps aren't out, and you can actually see that this branch has different colors than the branch right next to it. That's why Vincent named it Dirty Insanity, because when its polyps are out, it's kind of dirty brown base with yellow tips on the polyps. So he called it Dirty, and Insanity is when the polyps go in.
What's this, Chris?
This is, I don't have a name for it. It's called Acropora encitharus. It's a tabling acro. We got it about 2 years ago, and it took it forever to do anything. It wouldn't grow, it just sat there and looked pretty. And then all of a sudden, it really started to take off, and as you can see, it's growing all over the tiling, growing new branches. I can't wait to put this one on the market because it's a tabling acro. It's a difficult one to put. I gotta wait till it gets about 3 tiers growing on it. So probably another year, and I'll have it available in the market. But orange Acropora encitharus.